We have made it to the trade deadline here in Season 5 of the Portland Trail Blazers MyNBA Franchise here on NBA 2K24. And over the past few episodes, we've been really hyping up this deadline because I think today is going to be one of the pivotal points in this entire franchise series for what the direction and the future of the NBA looks like. We've talked about all the possible stars who could be on the move, and we're going to have a number of them finding new homes today. All of this is to look to catch the Portland Trail Blazers, who at 43-8 have the best record in the Western Conference and look like the team to beat for the title, not just this year, but over likely the next half decade with the performance of our young stars. Obviously, Darius Springer has played at an MVP level. Shaedon Sharpe has played every game this year and has been dynamic as a scorer. When healthy, Scoot Henderson and Khalil Griffin have performed. Both of these guys would have made the All-Star team and possibly the All-NBA team had they not gotten injured. Look at Khalil Griffin's efficiencies. He's pretty much shooting 60, 50, 90. Scoot Henderson, meanwhile, is averaging 21 and 10, also on absurdly good efficiency. Despite the injuries to these two guys, with Scoot missing the last pretty much month and a half at this point, and Khalil Griffin missing upwards of a month of gameplay this year, the team hasn't lost a beat, and it's been because of the performance of Darius Springer, who's all the way up to second in terms of estimated wins added, and is still second in the MVP race, only behind Luka Doncic. The rest of the team and the role players are also performing at a high level. Ochai Agbaji started the year off slow, coming back from injury, but he's been great over the last 2 months. Porzingis, Logan, Anthony, other veterans have produced. The rookie, Caleb Marsh, has been really steady. He hasn't missed a game yet this year. And as we go into the trade deadline, I don't think our team specifically is going to make a big move. But we're still going to be active because I want to add some role players to this team. I feel like we're good enough to win the NBA Finals this season, and I want to put our team in the best position to do that. We don't have the room to acquire another star, though. We're already paying a lot of guys a lot of money, and that's not even including Darius Springer, who's a free agent after this year. Khalil Griffin is a free agent after next year. Zay Logan is a guy who I would like to keep around. He's a free agent after this year. We also don't really have many draft picks. I think this Wizards first rounder in 2029 could be our magnum opus because, well, the Wizards are not good. But I would rather hold on to that pick if I can, unless I feel like there's a can't-miss move. Despite that, though, I think there are a few areas of this team that we can improve. It's no secret that we could use a backup big, and I'd also like to add an on-ball scoring threat for the second unit. Ochai Agbaji is a great scorer off the bench, but he's an off-the-ball player. Malachi Suleiman has his strengths as a defender and as a passer, but he's not a great on-ball scorer. Cole Anthony is also wildly inconsistent, and I think we can get somebody a little bit better than him. So I did some digging, and I found the perfect player who can fit that role. And it's a guy the Trail Blazers know pretty well. Damen Lillard is currently being exiled on the Las Vegas Venom. At 37 years old, he is looking to retire at the end of the season. It's pretty obvious that Las Vegas is not competing for a title. They had the worst record in the NBA. And with Damen Lillard looking to retire and being on an expiring contract, there's no reason for the Venom to keep him, considering he's played well enough for them to get some value for him. Obviously, Damen Lillard is one of the all-time greats in Trail Blazer history, but he never got a chance to win a title with our team. We traded him away in the very first episode of the series in a move that has really worked out for us. We got Ochai Agbaji in that trade. We got multiple first-round picks, one of which was in the Kristaps Porzingis trade, the other of which we used to trade up for Caleb Marsh. Lillard had 4 really good seasons in Miami, including averaging nearly 38 points per game in Season 1. And I think he's still got it, and he historically has played really well against us. This game where he got 14 threes was at the end of Season 1 against us. This game where he got 15 threes was on Christmas Day this season with the Las Vegas Venom against us. That was like 3 episodes ago. In other words, Damen Lillard at 37 years old in his final NBA season has still got it. He's averaging 28 points per game, albeit there's no other shot creators on this team, so his volume is going to be pretty high. But his efficiency's been pretty solid, considering he's the only guy that defenses have to worry about. The one question with us acquiring Lillard is, what is his role going to be? Because he's not better than Scoot Henderson at this point in time, so presumably he's going to have to come off the bench. He's never come off the bench in his NBA career, not once. Now, he is reliable. He did not miss a single game with the Miami Heat and has only missed 2 games this season. Along with that, he wants to contend for a championship, and he wants to be a Portland Trail Blazer. Now, the trade offers look hefty. I'm obviously not trading Ochai Agbaji for him, but I think the only reason why these offers are so large is because there needs to be a way for the money to work, and it would work with Cole Anthony and Day'Ron Sharpe being the two players sent to the Venom. I'm going to add some second-round picks. We'd be trading away 2 of them, and we'd be getting 1 back, a second in 2029. So I would offer this deal to the Las Vegas Venom, and they accept it. Damian Lillard, welcome home, brother. He is back with the Portland Trail Blazers, the team who he spent 11 seasons with at the start of his career and was one of the all-time great players in franchise history. He's now going to get one more chance to compete for a title with the Blazers. Now, apparently, he's not looking to retire anymore. We'll see what he does at the end of the year. But for now, Damian Lillard is back. I'm not done with trades, though. I want to add another big, kind of like what we did last year at the deadline with Enzo Shabazz. That move really worked out for us, and obviously we had to let him go in the expansion draft. But I'd like to add an older big who can give us good minutes. Well, this player's not older. He's only 22, but I think Damalio de los Santos with the Raptors would be a good addition. He's on the last year of his deal. They may not look to bring him back, and he's got a good skill set. The trade offers really are not that bad, and if we want to trade him away, realistically, we would have to trade away Malachi Suleiman. And this is a tough one for me because De Los Santos is a better player than Malachi Suleiman. But there's still a lot of value for a guy like Suleiman, especially for what he brings on the defensive end of the floor. Along with that, we would still have Suleiman under team control for next year, whereas De Los Santos is a restricted free agent. And being that we're going to have other priorities in free agency, we're probably not going to be able to pay him. He would be a complete rental, and I still value Malachi Suleiman very highly. I think we can get somebody pretty much just as good as De Los Santos and not have to give up Malachi Suleiman. So, although this trade is really tempting, I'm ultimately going to pass on it. We looked at some other younger guys, including Marvin Kamara. Again, if we want to trade for him, Malachi Suleiman would have to be the centerpiece of the deal, and I'd rather not do that if I don't have to. I'd rather go for someone a little bit older and cheaper, and I think Marvin Bagley in Minnesota could be our guy. Bagley's 28 years old. He's been in the league for around a decade as a bench player. He was with the Kings last year, so obviously he played in a handful of playoff games in Sacramento. We're obviously not trading away Damian Lillard, but a trade like that could make a lot of sense. Giving up one of our younger bigs, one of Christian Koloko or Ashton Wisham, along with somebody like Armani Robinson. Obviously, I'd rather not trade Ashton Wisham, so I think Christian Koloko and Armani Robinson being the two players going to Minnesota would make a lot of sense for us. Koloko's an intriguing big man, but we don't really need him if we're getting Bagley. And Armani Robinson just hasn't really shown us a ton over the last 2 years, and I feel like he's a guy who is pretty expendable. Chris Livingston would also come over in the trade. I feel like he's pretty expendable. The one issue is I'd rather not give up the Las Vegas second rounder. I'm going to offer a future second. They say no. They offer as a counter, and I think I'll just do it with the Venom second rounder. I didn't really want to. I think this pick could be pretty valuable next year, considering the Venom are probably not going to be that good. But I think it's worth it to get a guy like Marvin Bagley. He's a really good post scorer. He can stretch the floor a little bit, and I think he's a good enough post defender. But most of all, he's got postseason experience and gives us another veteran. Chris Livingston's not going to stick around, though. We're going to trade him to the Memphis Grizzlies for Matisse Thybulle. The reason for this trade is I'd rather get somebody who's a little bit older and a little bit more experienced, even if they're not going to play a lot. Thybulle was with our team at the start of this series. We traded him in Season 1 at the deadline to the Spurs. I'm not really sure if he would really get a ton of playing time for us, but he won a championship with the Spurs in 2026 back in Season 3. So he's been around a championship team before, and I think that's more valuable for us than a guy like Chris Livingston, even if Thybulle really isn't going to play a whole lot. So those are going to be the moves we make at the trade deadline, but we have an extra roster spot. Why not sign a guy who is a winner? Dante DiVincenzo can fill up his whole hand with championship rings. A 3-time NBA champion and a 2-time national champion at Villanova. He won a ring in his 3rd season with Milwaukee, albeit he was injured during that playoff run. He won a championship in Season 1 with the Knicks, and he won one last year with Milwaukee. A 1-year minimum for a guy who is a championship-level role player seems like a pretty good deal for us. I'm not entirely sure how often he's going to play, but having a guy like him in the locker room I think is going to do as well. What I wanted to do this deadline is get some veterans, get some championship experience, and we do that with Damian Lillard, Dante DiVincenzo, Marvin Bagley, and Matisse Thybulle. None of those guys are going to play our first game, though, against the Jazz. because I want them to debut at home, and they're probably going to need some time to come in and acclimate themselves. So we're going to run a 9-man rotation with the only 9 healthy and available players. Obviously, Scoot and Griffin can't play. They're injured, and the 4 new guys aren't going to play. So everybody else who is still here and still healthy will play that game on their own against Utah. Overall, I feel like this trade deadline is a massive win for us. We did not give up any important young players. We did not give up any first-round picks. But we added 4 really solid veterans who I think are going to make our team a little bit more well-rounded and really position us to be the favorites to make it out of the Western Conference and win an NBA championship. We're going to look to get Damen Lillard his first ring before he retires. Marvin Bagley's a solid veteran who should give us good minutes down low. And the championship experience of Matisse Thybulle and Dante DiVincenzo will hopefully be enough to push us over the edge. Because we have positioned ourselves so well to potentially make a run for a title this year, I think the other teams who have been rumored to be looking to add some star power are going to be more aggressive than ever, setting us up for what could be a historically exciting trade deadline. And all I'm going to say now, buckle up. There's going to be some big movers. The possible stars who could be on the move include Ja Morant with the Grizzlies, with the second worst record in the NBA. Nikola Jokic in Denver, we've talked about this one for a while, but the Nuggets have won 11 games in a row. Could that change things? As for some of the more unlikely ones, De'Aaron Fox and Zion Williamson in New Orleans. Or perhaps Darius Garland and Evan Mobley in Cleveland. The Cavs are in 5th place in the East, but Mobley's a free agent after this year, and Garland is after next year. What about Golden State? Stephen Curry's looking to retire at the end of this season. Could one of him or Donovan Mitchell be on the move? This is going to be the craziest trade deadline in NBA history. I am not exaggerating, so buckle up. It's going to get wild. We're going to start small and work our way up. Benedict Mathurin is going to the Cavs for Saddiq Bey and some second-round picks. The Cavs want to add some more scoring to their guard rotation, and this pretty much confirms that Garland and Mobley will be sticking around for now. You know how I said we're going to start small and work our way up? I lied. That's the only small trade. Let's get to the big guns. Ja Morant is 28 years old. He's not getting any younger, and he wants to contend for a title. I think it would be mutually beneficial for him and the Grizzlies to split. Ja Morant did just sign a Supermax contract, which complicates things a little bit, but the Grizzlies had the second worst record in the NBA. They're not going anywhere anytime soon. I think there's one team who has enough assets to really make this work, and that's the Los Angeles Lakers, a big market team looking to add a true superstar. The Lakers have 5 first-round picks this year. None of those picks individually are that valuable, but 5 is a lot. They've got 2 firsts in 2030. 2 in 2031, and they've got plenty of allure for Ja Morant to want to play here. The Lakers are in firm contention for a play-in spot and should only get better over the next few years. They had the 2 most recent number 1 picks with Dante Del Toro and Bryson Franklin. Obviously, the 2 of them are off the table, but everything else here is fair game. The Grizzlies would agree to a 3-team deal sending Ja Morant to the Lakers, and since they want to hit the full reset button, they're going to be sending Nick Claxton to Toronto. Morant has around 11 estimated wins added. The Grizzlies as a team have 12 wins this year. Their roster sucks, and they need to hit the full reset button to get better. They'll be getting Malachi Branham and Bilal Coulibaly from the Lakers in order to make the money work, along with 4 first-rounders. I would say the 4 most valuable first-rounders that the Lakers currently own. The Lakers will also get Kevon Looney. As for the second deal, Nick Claxton and Reggie Coffey are going to the Raptors for Austin Reeves and Damalio De Los Santos. Coffey and De Los Santos are both intriguing young players, but they're both expiring. Claxton and De Los Santos have pretty similar skill sets, while Coffey and Reeves have pretty similar skill sets. So it fits for both teams, and I think it makes the Raptors a little bit better as they look to compete for an Eastern Conference playoff spot. The Grizzlies, meanwhile, get to start fresh, and they get some new young pieces to work with. The biggest winner of this trade, though, is by far the Lakers. They still have plenty of draft picks, and I think the big brain part about this deal is that they were able to trade away their 2 biggest contracts with Malachi Branham and Bilal Coulibaly. Because of that, with Jeremy Grant off the books this summer, they're going to have room for another max contract. And who's not going to want to play here? They already have Ja Morant. They've got these 2 budding superstars with Del Toro and Franklin, and it's the Los Angeles Lakers. So they're going to add another piece to this already great nucleus. This is a very fascinating trade. Another 3-teamer. Karl Anthony Towns is going to the Thunder for Jalen Williams. So why are these 2 teams doing this? Well, the Timberwolves want to shuffle the deck. They don't want Anthony Edwards to be the next star who's looking to find a new home. The Timberwolves have not played well over the last month or so, and they're looking to kind of reset things a little bit. Cat is expiring, and I think a new change of scenery would do him well. The Thunder have played really well as of recent. They've won 13 in a row, but this is a huge upgrade for them. This is not the same J-Dub who's been balling for the Thunder in real life. He's only averaging 13 a game, and he's doing it on poor efficiency. Nonetheless, the Wolves are getting an intriguing two-way wing who's got another year on his deal, along with a first-round pick. The other part of this trade is the Thunder looking for more front court depth. They'll be getting Derek Lively from the Sixers in exchange for Sheikh Doucouré and that 2029 Las Vegas second rounder that's been flipped around like a blunt today. I think it's been traded 3 separate times already. Alrighty, this one's a doozy. Another 3-teamer. The Miami Heat are one of the worst teams in the NBA, and they're one of the oldest teams in the NBA. Kevin Durant is 39 years old, and he is expiring. Jimmy Butler is 38 years old, and he is expiring. There's no reason for Miami to keep these guys. Now, obviously, since they're so old, they don't really have that much value, but it's either this or nothing. So Jimmy Butler is going to Sacramento, where I think he fits perfectly. All the Kings have to trade away is Clint Capella, Darius Slade, and a second-round pick. That's pretty much nothing. Now, the Kings already have their starting 5 set, which, by the way, Apollo Cohn averages 8 assists per game. That blew my mind when I first saw it. I think Jimmy Butler fits perfectly off the bench, along with Davion Mitchell, Jaden McDaniels, and Kamari White. Those 4 guys are all elite defenders, and this, as a 9-man rotation, is perfect for playoff basketball. By making this trade, the Kings are still the biggest threat for the Portland Trail Blazers in the West. As for Kevin Durant, he is going to the Knicks in exchange for Jarris Walker. Now, Walker's a pretty good young player, but he only signed a 1-year deal. He's not a part of the Knicks' long-term plans. They don't really need him. They're going to be sending Walker and 2 second-rounders to Miami for KD. It's always felt like destiny that Kevin Durant was going to play for the Knicks at some point, and they don't have to give up one of their premier young players to get it done. Next up, we've got a slightly smaller trade, but it is one that affects one of the better teams in the Western Conference. The one thing I think the Rockets could look to add is some more depth at forward, whether that's at the 3 or the 4. Well, Mr. 27 days, 27 nights here, Miles Bridges, can do both of those things. Bridges has been with the Sonics this year, where he's been pretty solid, and Seattle will be getting Dieter Hubger, who was the Rockets' most recent first-rounder, along with 2 seconds. I think this is pretty fair. The Rockets get a starting caliber player for the postseason, and the Sonics get some young assets. All right, now we're going to get complicated again. Our final trade of the deadline. Donovan Mitchell is going to the New York Knicks in a 3-team deal. The Knicks already got Kevin Durant today, but they are not done. It has also felt like destiny that Donovan Mitchell will play for the Knicks at some point. Note that Steph Curry is not being traded away. He's staying in Golden State. He would rather stick it out for the last 2 months with the Warriors and retire here rather than contend for one more title. Now, regardless of his status, it does not make sense for them to keep Donovan Mitchell, which is why they're trading him now. The Knicks are going to be giving up a lot. They don't want to trade Tyler Hero, but it's worth it for Donovan Mitchell. They're also going to trade some young guys like Mars Ingram Jr., the 7th overall pick a couple years ago, who's going to pair with his former high school teammate, Dejon Hill. They're also going to trade Giovanni Merritt, the 8th overall pick a couple years ago. These are 2 really good young pieces, but the Knicks still have plenty of young assets on their team. They don't have to give up any first-round picks to acquire KD or Donovan Mitchell, and they're able to hold on to Tryon Howard, Kolo Dumbolo, Abdul Khalif, and Quillen Scalor. Of their key 6 young players, they're able to keep 4 of them while acquiring Durant and Mitchell. The other piece of this deal is Tyler Hero going to the Nets. There's no reason for the Warriors to get him, and I think Brooklyn would look to add another scorer. They've got some injuries on the wing, and I feel like the Nets don't want to be quiet this year at the deadline. I like this trade a lot for Brooklyn because they're adding another big-time piece without trading any of their great young players. Jalen Thamba, William Abimbola, Jet Adams, and Victor Oboye are all sticking around, meaning that they're still going to have some trade assets for another star down the line. They are giving up John Collins and 2 first-round picks, but I think it's worth it. So overall, a very complicated trade, but basically, Tyler Hero is going to the Nets, Donovan Mitchell is going to the Knicks, and Brandon Podziemski decides to shoot it down. How about DeAndre Tuesday? He also shoots it down. Great. Okay. So now we're going to try Moses Moody, and we're actually going to send him to the Nets. I realize that this might be a little bit too much for Brooklyn to give up, so they'll be getting Moses Moody back as well, while the Knicks are going to add another draft pick. And now it works. And that's going to wrap up the trade deadline. Now we can breathe. I know that was a lot to take in. Some pretty big trades, but I told you it was going to be wild. Donovan Mitchell is a Knick. Tyler Hero is a Net. Miles Bridges is a Rocket. Kevin Durant is a Knick. Jimmy Butler is a King. Karl Anthony Towns to Oklahoma City. Jalen Williams to Minnesota. Benedict Mathurin to Cleveland. Nick Claxton to the Raptors. And John Morant to the Lakers. And now we can breathe. So many great teams got better. The Rockets got better. The Thunder got better. The Kings, I think, are still our biggest threat with the addition of Jimmy Butler. The Nets got better. The Knicks got better. The Cavs got better. And why were all of these teams ultra aggressive? Because they're scared of us at the top. Notable players who were not traded include Nikola Jokic, solely because the Nuggets are playing a lot better. If they do trade him in the offseason, I would look out for Brooklyn to be the favorite with all those young players they held on to. The Pelicans ultimately decided to stand pat. Zion Williamson's a free agent at the end of the year. I could see the Lakers giving him a big offer. The Jazz ultimately stand pat. They've been a little disappointing this year. I think they're going to play the waiting game and look to make their big move in the future. Maybe Nikola Jokic's landing spot is Utah. So the landscape of the league has certainly changed a lot, and I'm excited to see how it plays out over the second half of the season, into the playoffs, and beyond. Let's simulate this game against Utah with, of course, our 9-man rotation with none of our new guys. We will officially pass through the craziest trade deadline I've ever seen in my life and ultimately beat the Jazz by 1. A lot closer than it should have been, but Ochai dropped 30. Big games from Porzingis and Springer. We did have an injury, though. Shaedon Sharpe bruised his right hip. He can play through it, but it's not really worth the risk. We're 44-8. Shaedon Sharpe is one of 3 guys to have played every game this year. If you had told me at the beginning of the season the last 2 guys to not miss a game would be Kristaps Porzingis and Caleb Marsh, I'd kind of laugh at you. I was a little bit worried at first that this injury may keep Shaedon Sharpe from playing in the All-Star game, but luckily I don't have anything to worry about. That's because Shaedon Sharpe did not make the All-Star game to begin with. How does a team that's 44-8 end up with 1 All-Star? I don't get it. Anyway, this is what the new lineup is going to look like up until the All-Star break. Damian Lillard will start. Caleb Marsh will move back to the bench, where he's joined by newcomers Marvin Bagley and Dante DiVincenzo. Of course, we're going to be without 3 of our top 4 players now, as we take a look at this matchup at home against the Detroit Pistons, who at 31-21 have completely flown under the radar at 4th place in the Eastern Conference. The reason why I have not really talked about the Pistons much this year is because their core is kind of set. Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, Asar Thompson, and Jabari Smith are all making a lot of money, and they're all under contract for at least 3 more years. So because of that, the Pistons don't really have room to add another star. They've made their bed, for better or for worse, and because of that, I haven't really gotten a chance to highlight them this year, which sucks, because as many of you guys know, I am a huge Pistons fan. I would love to yap about how good Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey have been this year, but I don't get to because there's not really a reason to. The Pistons core is kind of set in place. The team is pretty good, but there's nothing overly interesting to talk about with this team. Nonetheless, I'm excited to take a look at them today, and I'm excited to take a look at the reaction from the crowd of Damian Lillard's return home.
At the point guard position, number 0, Damian Lillard.
As the crowd goes mild because there was no enthusiasm from the PA announcer. Nonetheless, it should still be exciting to see Damian Lillard return to Portland with an entirely new group of teammates. The only 2 players he had played with in Portland who are still here include Shaedon Sharpe, who's out for this game with an injury, and Matisse Thybulle, who's also returning for the first time in 4 years. He is also likely not to play today, so because of that, Lillard will only be playing with guys who he's never been teammates with before, which should be interesting as the Pistons win the tip and we are underway. The Blazers come into this game very short-handed with no Shaedon Sharpe, no Scoot Henderson, and no Khalil Griffin. It'll be the Darius Springer show with sprinkles of this guy. Damian Lillard, step back 3 to get the scoring started. Welcome back to Portland. Springer jumper blocked by Jabari Smith, who's bounced around but has found a home in Detroit. On the other end, Cade Cunningham, step back jumper is good. I imagine Cade is licking his chops because he's being guarded by 37-year-old Damian Lillard. Dame looking for the screen. He gets it over to Porzingis on the drive. His layup is blocked by Poku right into the hands of Springer, who makes the layup. Right place, right time as it's 7-4. Here's Jaden Ivey with it, guarded by Ochai Agbaji, looking for the screen. Ivey, three is good. With all of Portland's stars, other than Springer, out, most of the role players have to start. Because of that, I'm a little concerned that the second unit isn't going to look too good. Thompson, corner three is good. Asar Thompson's turned into a pretty good three-point shooter here in Detroit as the Pistons lead 12-7. Here's Damen Lillard with it, looking for Springer. Three from the wing is good. Springer's got 7 early as it's 12-10. Springer brings it up the floor, blows by Ivey, and is in for the layup. There aren't many guys who are faster than Jaden Ivey, and Springer's probably not one of them, but he outruns him there, and we're tied at 12. Lillard blows by Smith. Layup is good. Damen Lillard with his second basket of the game. He's 2 for 2. Springer and Lillard so far have done all the scoring, and Ochai Agbaji's looking to change that. Pump fake over Ivey. It is good, and the Blazers lead 16-14. Cade Cunningham is blocked at the rim by Porzingis. On the other end, it's Darius Springer out to Lillard. Lillard back to Springer for 3. Bang! Springer with 12 of the Blazers' first 19 points as Detroit calls time. Lillard and Springer still in the game. Lillard with the drive over to Springer, and he makes the contested layup. A hot start for Springer. He's got 14 and 6. Arguably Lillard's best teammate ever, and he's played with some great players, most notably Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo in Miami. Lillard makes the mid-range jumper. He's got 7 on 3 of 3 shooting, along with 4 assists. Dame has been great so far. Cade Cunningham at the rim. That one is good, despite nearly being blocked by Ashton Wisham. With much at the bench in the game, I think this is where the concern comes in for Portland. Here's Springer with it on the drive. Throws it down! It doesn't matter who's in the game as long as Darius Springer's got the ball. 22-25. Here's Marsh with it. Trapped inside. Out to Dante. 3 then Chenzo! I don't know why he went for the sidestep, but he made the shot anyway. 28-22. Cunningham guarded by Malachi Suleiman. Layup is good. Cade is off to a quick start for Detroit, and the lead is within 4. Kobe Buffkin with it now for the Pistons, guarded by DiVincenzo. He gets it over to Jabari Smith with 30 left in the quarter. 3 for Smith is good. Gotta respect the jumper from the big man, and it's a 1-point game. Marsh with it on the wing. Looks for the screen from Bagley. Looks like a pick and roll, and the lob is successful for Marvin Bagley. Both of DiVincenzo and Bagley's first baskets as Blazers are assisted by the rookie Marsh. With seconds to go, Cade Cunningham makes another layup inside, and the lead is within 1. Portland's going to get one more quick shot off. It's DiVincenzo out to Marsh. The rookie at the buzzer, no good, and that'll wrap up a competitive first quarter. 30-29, Blazers lead. Quick start for the newcomers. Bagley and DiVincenzo both with early buckets. Lillard has 7 points, hasn't missed a shot yet, and we move into second. Marsh out to DiVincenzo, back to Marsh, blows by Tanner Calhoun, and is in with the slam. Calhoun is the perfect bench guy for Detroit, one of the favorites for 6th man of the year. Now, unfortunately, the Pistons brought back the Frenchman, Killian Hayes, who has Reed open for 3, and Darian Reed connects on the triple. Shot inside is no good from Reed. He gets his own rebound out to Calhoun. He misses the triple. Portland with it in transition now. Zay Logan blows by Calhoun, and he is in with the layup. Calhoun is a good player, but he is not very athletic, as you can kind of see there. 32-34. Killian Hayes with the basketball. He is doubled for God knows what reason. And Calhoun is open for 3, and the former Jayhawk has the Pistons ahead, 35-34. Porzingis, 3 is no good. That's pretty much wide open for him. Brother, you're 7'3". You're a foot taller than the defender. On the other end, Kobe Buffkin, he drills the 3 in the corner. A 6-point swing in favor of Detroit. They lead 38-34. It's been a low-scoring game for the most part as Agbaji has it. Mid-range jumper is good. Count the foul, and 1. Big play for Ochai as it's now 40-37. Hayes with it, guarded by Lillard. He gets it over to Asar Thompson. Pump fakes again out to Jabari Smith. That high-arcing shot falls for Smith, and the Pistons now lead by 5 as Portland's got to call a timeout to talk it over. Lillard with it. He gets it over to Marvin Bagley. He finds Ochai Agbaji. He'll get the screen from Bagley. Ochai on the drive inside for Bagman. Marvin Bagley with the slam. It's 44-42. Lillard with it, looking for the screen from Porzingis. He gets it. Lillard drive. Acrobatic layup is good. And Dame is already in the double figures here with 10 as we're tied at 44. Calhoun loses it. It's stripped away by Abaji, who's immediately intercepted by Cade. The Pistons on the other end now. Cunningham to Ivy in the corner. And Jaden Ivey knocks down the triple. It warms my heart seeing the chemistry that Cade and Jaden have built together in this backcourt. As here is Lillard off the screen. His three-pointer will fall. Dame is 2 for 2 from deep as it's 49-47. Ashton Wisham with it. He gets it over to Zay Logan. Logan looks to find the seam inside like a running back. And he's in for the layup. We're tied at 49 with 2 minutes to go in the half. Again, very low-scoring game as Jaden Ivey is in with the slam. Blazers call time. It's been tough acclimating with these new faces, and even though Dame individually is playing well, there is a lack of chemistry so far, which is understandable. Jaden Ivey hits the jumper, 4-point game with 3 seconds left. This is Dame's favorite part of the game where the buzzer sounds. His shot, though, will not fall, and that'll wrap up the first half. 55-51, Pistons lead in a defensive duel. So, certainly not the start on offense we're looking for. Springer had 16 in the first. He has a double-double with 18 and 10, but he only went 1 for 7 in the second quarter. As for Lillard, he has been good individually with 13 points. He's only missed 2 shots from the field, one of which was his heave at the end of the second quarter. We'll see what happens now into the third. Springer on the drive. Jumper is good off the screen, and Springer's looking to get hot after a rough second quarter. 55-53 now. Jaden Ivey gets the screen from Pokuševski. His three-pointer will fall. Another triple for Jaden Ivey, and it's 58-53. Lillard with it, guarded by Cade. Looking to get Porzingis open off the screen. The big man, Porzingis, hits the three for Portland. 60-56. Springer, pump fake. He is blocked at the rim. Porzingis was wide open in the corner. How did they not see him? On the other end, Cunningham's three will fall. Another 6-point swing in favor of Detroit. Porzingis, pump fake. He's picked off by Asar Thompson in transition. Thompson in the corner. Ivy three. That one's good. A 10-point lead for Detroit as they are firing out the gates here in the third. Portland's got to call time. They've got to get it together. The Pistons find themselves on an 11-3 run, and I think it's time for this guy to take over. Springer connects on the three off of the pick and pop. Following possession, here's Abaji with it. Springer, again, gets some room for three, and that one is good. The Pistons' closeout defense on screens has been really good today, but not those last 2 possessions. Springer, pump fake on the drive. Lefty throwdown. Darius Springer alone is on an 8-0 run, and the 10-point lead is quickly evaporated to 2. The Pistons now have to respond as Aleksej Pokuševski hits that one over Porzingis. Much-needed basket for the Pistons. 68-66, here's Ivey bringing it up. Has some space. Contest from 2 defenders, but it doesn't matter as Jaden Ivey hits another 3. 71-66, here's Malachi Suleiman with it, looking for the screen from Springer. Suleiman takes it himself in the corner. Logan, he stays open and drills the triple. Portland is now finally starting to get hot on offense. Logan over to Springer, pump fake. Springer drives by Cade, in for the slam. 30-12 for Springer. He's already got 12 here in just the third quarter alone, and he's not done. Blows by Jabari Smith for the layup and the lead. The Pistons were up by 10 like 3 minutes ago, and Darius Springer on his own has evaporated that lead. But why stop now? Another layup for Springer, who now has 16 points in the quarter, the same amount that he had in the first. Here's Abaji with it. Inside for Springer. Misses the layup, but he grabs his own rebound. Has Bagley open. Long 2 is good. Great play there by Darius Springer. His 15th rebound of the game, by the way. 73-79. Here's Cade and the Pistons looking for some momentum. Off the screen. Inside for Jabari Smith Jr., who makes the layup despite good pick-and-roll defense by Wisham. The lead now sits at 8 for Portland. Quite the far cry from what we saw a few minutes ago. Cunningham off the screen, hits the 3. Big shot for Cade, and it's a one-score game again. Here's Lillard with it. Fadeaway 3, no good, but have no fear because Darius Springer is under for the offensive rebound, his 18th board of the game, and he gets the putback. Lillard felt comfortable taking the tough shot because he knew Springer would be there to rebound it. 80-85. Cunningham, layup is good. And it's a one-possession game again. Got to give credit to the Pistons for battling back after that big run from Springer. His three to end the third is no good, but still a big quarter for Darius Springer, who had 20 points and 8 rebounds. The Pistons led by as many as 10 points early in the quarter, but it's Portland ahead by 3 going into the fourth. Bufkin inside for Cade with an early dunk within seconds of the quarter starting. 84-87 now. Cade with it for the Pistons, looking for some room for the tie. Bang! And we are now knotted up at 87. Portland's 8-point lead evaporates quicker than the Pistons' 10-point lead did. Here's Cunningham to Bufkin to Reed for the lead. It's an alley-oop slam for Darion Reed. Lillard with it to Porzingis. He's blocked by Tanner Calhoun. Here comes the Pistons on the other end. Cunningham, jumper, no good, but Bufkin's there with the rebound. He's blocked at the rim. Big play by Zay Logan. Lillard out to Porzingis. His jumper is good for the tie. And Kristaps Porzingis knots this one up at 89. Pistons back ahead, though. Here's Lillard with it on the drive. His layup is no good, but Logan's there with the rebound. Out to Lillard. Another open jumper, no good, but Marsh is there with the putback. Damian Lillard is starting to run out of gas, though. He's missed his last 6 shots and has cooled off since the end of the first half. 91-92. Why is Cade wide open? He hits the 3 in the corner for the lead. 94-92 with 7 to go. Springer's back in the game, looking to close things out for Portland. And that's a good start. He's got 40. And we're knotted up at 94. Marsh with it, the rookie on the drive. Gets it over to Springer, guarded by Cade. Springer looks to take advantage of the size mismatch. Pump fake. That one is good. 42 points now for Springer, and the Blazers take the lead back. Here's Cade with it on the drive, off the glass, no good. Nice defense by Marsh on the fast break. Marsh hands it off for Springer on the drive with the throwdown. Everything is running through Darius Springer. When he's in the game versus when he's out of the game, this is a completely different team. 4-point game. Calhoun inside. Nice play. Good cut off the ball. And it's a 2-point lead. Here's Springer with it now, driving inside for Porzingis. Throws it down on the pick and roll. And it is a 4-point Trailblazer lead with 5 to go as the Pistons call time. Cade Cunningham with it, guarded by Lillard. That's the matchup he wants as he lobs it up for Jaden Ivey, who lays it in, and the lead is back down to 2. Lillard looks to call for a play. He gets it over to Abaji, but it's tipped and intercepted by Jaden Ivey. On the other end, Ivey inside, looks to tie it with the layup, and he will. The best offense is good defense. Nice play there by Ivey, and we're tied again. Here's Springer with it, posts up on Cade. Springer baits him into the foul, and it's good! And 1 for the lead for Springer, who passes his season high in points. That was 45. And with the free throw, he breaks his career high, which was 46. It's a 3-point game as Cade hits the step-back jumper. Loose ball foul on Jabari Smith, but the shot still counts. 1-point game. Here's Springer now with a career high 47 points. He's looking for 50, but the Pistons are wisely going to double him. Porzingis to Logan for 3! Zay Logan connects on the triple. It's a 4-point game with just over 2.5 to go. Here's Cade with it. Shot clock winding down. Bang! Line 2 is good for Cunningham. He's got 40 of his own. 4-point game. Springer misses the layup with no foul on Jabari Smith. I feel like they missed an easy call there. On the other end, Ivy jumper is good, and the lead is back down to 2. 110-108 with just over a minute left. Here's Lillard with it inside. He gets it to Abaji, over to Logan, inside for Porzingis, who misses the dunk but is fouled by Poku. He would make 1 at the line. It's a 3-point game. Pistons can theoretically tie here. Jabari Smith with it. He will go for the tie. No good. Rebounded by Logan. Let's see what the Blazers have in store here. It's Springer with 49 to Abaji. Back to Springer. He's got the mismatch, but he's doubled. Dame open. Bang! What time is it? It's Dame time. Lillard with the corner 3, and it's a 6-point lead for the Blazers with 40 to go. Quick inbound for Cade. He misses the 3. Springer with his 21st rebound of the game, and he will bring it up the floor before being fouled by Ivy. Springer now at the line with a chance for 50. 51 points for Darius Springer as the MVP chants rain down here in Portland. Under 30 to go. Pistons got to get some shots up quickly. Jaden Ivey with it. His three-pointer will fall. So the Pistons bring it within 5. They're going to have to foul quickly. And Portland ultimately wants Lillard at the line as he's fouled by Cade. That's his 6th. His day is done. Lillard would make both. It's a 7-point game. Inbound for Smith. His three-pointer will fall. So the Pistons are not quitting. The lead down to 4 as Lillard is fouled by Jaden Ivey. He would make both again. 6-point game with 15 to go. Here's Thompson with it over to Ivey. He sinks the 3. These guys will not die. Lillard fouled again by Jaden Ivey. He'll go back to the line. This time, though, it's only a 1-score game. The Pistons are throwing every rabbit out of the hat they can possible, but Lillard is not missing. He's made 6 consecutive clutch free throws in a row, and it is now a 5-point game with exactly 10 seconds left on the clock. Did the Pistons have another miracle inside them? Here's Ivey who brings it up over to Smith for 3. These guys will not die! Can we put them to sleep for once? Lillard is fouled. He'll go to the line for 2.
At the line for 2, Damen Lillard.
MVP chance for Damian Lillard. He's got 28, and that should ice it. No way the Pistons pull this one out, as the full court heave is no good, and that'll do it. Despite a late fight from the Pistons making 4 threes in the final 30 seconds of the game, the Blazers hang on to win it as they take it 124 to 120. Despite being without 3 of our 4 best players in this game, we find a way to win it. And that's because Darius Springer is that guy. That's our MVP. Now, the first thing I noticed before anything with Springer is the free throw disparity. We shot 30, they shot 4. Am I complaining? No. In the second half, we shot 25. They shot none. Again, am I complaining? No. Just an observation. I think 10 of those free throws came at the end of the game when the Pistons were intentionally fouling, but still interesting. As for Darius Springer, what a game. 51 points, 21 rebounds, and 5 assists on pretty good shooting splits. And he was able to will us to a win without our 2nd, 3rd, and 4th best players. That's why I believe he should be the MVP for games like this. A career high for Springer, his first 50-point game, hopefully of many to come. And again, he did it on pretty good efficiency. 16 points in the first, 16 in the third, and then I think he had 17 in the fourth. Imagine if he didn't have that stinker in the second quarter. He could have gotten 60. Damian Lillard with 28 points in his first game back, albeit he went 13 for 14 at the line. I feel like his numbers are a little manipulative. He didn't really have a 28-point level game, but again, not complaining, as him and Springer combined for 79, including 20 for 21 at the line. Zay Logan had some big plays late. Porzingis was solid. Bagley and DiVincenzo were both pretty good in their first games with us. And again, we got to the line a lot, and we shot it well, 27 for 30. As for the Pistons, the 2 guards, Cade and Ivey, combined for 75. Ivey, in particular, was really impressive and really efficient, and he only played 27 minutes. Cade with 48 and 7 was a little more well-rounded, though. Nobody else was really all that good. I mean, Jabari Smith hit some big threes, but it was really the Cade and Ivey show. The 2 of them were dynamic. And even though the Pistons didn't make a big move at the deadline, they still feel like one of the 3 or 4 favorites, in my opinion, to make it out of that conference with the guard play that they have. So we're going to simulate up to the All-Star break. We've got 3 games against the New Look Warriors, the Dallas Mavericks, and the 76ers. I'm most intrigued by the Mavericks game because of, obviously, the MVP storyline, with Luka Doncic being the only guy ahead of Darius Springer in the MVP ranking. Against Golden State, Kristaps Porzingis strained his hip. He can play through it, but again, it's not worth the risk. So Ashton Wisham will slide into the starting lineup, and this means 4/5 of our starting lineup is hurt. Darius Springer is the only healthy starter. If he finds a way to beat Luka Doncic and the Mavericks with this team, there's no argument against him not being the MVP. The rest of his starters are out. Well, guess what? We ended up winning the game, 142 to 132. Both Springer and Luka had very normal games for their statistical outputs, but Darius Springer found a way to win without his second, third, fourth, and fifth best player. It was him and the backups. If that's not what an MVP does, I don't know what they do. The most valuable player is the guy who's most valuable to winning for their team, and Darius Branier has shown that time and time again. That game should have put him ahead of Luka for the MVP race, and it doesn't. We did lose this last game against the Sixers. I'm really not going to worry about it. It was a back-to-back. It was a quick flight from Portland all the way to Philadelphia in one night. It's the day before the All-Star break as well, so I get it. It happens. Damen Lillard really hasn't played all that well yet, other than his game against Detroit. Certainly less volume than he got in Las Vegas, so I think he's still taking some time to get used to it, and he's going to need to since he'll be coming off the bench with Scoot Henderson coming back likely within the next week or so. With that, we're 47-9. We're 8 games ahead of the Kings for first place in the conference, and we're hoping to clinch the 1 seed pretty soon. If we do, I think we can wrap up the regular season pretty quickly. Now, we still have to get through the All-Star break, and I would still like to have a prospect profile before the end of the season, so I think that's what you can expect in the next couple of episodes. I hope you guys enjoyed. I know it was kind of a chaotic one with all of the trades around the league, but certainly a fun one. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Peace out.